Hello everyone. As you know, we have completed our half-yearly syllabus. In today's class, basically what we shall do is the revision and revision of two chapters which are there in your half-yearly portion. As you have 5 chapters, today we shall be having the revision of 2 chapters, which is Meeting Miss Trotwood and Peter and Wendy. Okay, and also I shall be taking your revision test. That the question papers will be there in the worksheet section. One revision test that will be on the MCQ based question pattern, and another one will be on the written question paper that you will pinch the written test on the basis of the written test which you will have to appear. These are the things that we are going to do today. First is Meeting Miss Trotwood. Very quickly I shall be telling you the outline of the story, and also the in-text question. That time you said that while we did it for the first time, that time we missed some in-text questions. So in-text questions I shall be telling you here in your class, and also I shall be giving you in the study material part. Okay, so the first in-text question which is here is what does had known no comb or brass mean? So it means David did not comb or brush his hair until he left his home. Okay, David did not comb or brush his hair until he left home. Another question is, what did Miss Betsy mean when she said that she would take her chance with David? So it means that she will be taking care of David, or she will be taking the responsibility of David. Since she had no child, so she didn't have the experience of how to bring up a child. So she will take the chance. She will give herself a try that whether she can rear up David, or she can bring up him in a very nice way or not. Okay, so these are the 2 questions I shall be giving you in your study material part, the answers also. Now coming to the story. Now, as I have said, that it has been taken from Dickens's masterpiece, which is David Copperfield. Now here you can see that only a very small portion, a very little part is given here, that David, he was being ill-treated by Mr. Murdstone, who is his stepfather, and also there was Murdstone's sister. She also was a villain. Now both of them were treated as villains because they ill-treated David, they tortured him, and instead of sending him to school, they sent him for work. So these are the things which you are having. Then what happens now? One day David will be coming to his aunt's house. The name of the aunt is Miss Betsy Trotwood. Now the aunt will be in the very first when the boy will come, she won't be able to recognize him because she has seen him when he was a newborn baby, that time only, and once only she has seen him. So that is why aunt will not be able to recognize him. And then what happens? It seems also another cause is that the boy was too much disabled condition. The boy was in a what you can say, he was like the slum boys. He was like he was not looking like a decent boy. He was not looking like somebody from a civilized kind of. So that is why the aunt was not able to recognize him. The aunt also, we can know from this story that the aunt had a fantasy that for the girl child. Now when she found that it was a boy, David was a boy, so that time only she left the home, she left David's home, and she didn't go back there any other day. So these are there. The story starts in this way, and also you remember you will have to read this part also, these introductory parts which are given in all the stories, or whether this is a poem or something. So these parts, although his father had died, David Copperfield lived happily with his mother until she married Mr. Murdstone. Not a kind man, Mr. Murdstone's equally unkind sister came to live with them. Then David's mother passed away as well, and Mr. Murdstone and his sister continued ill-treating David. They made him work in a factory instead of sending him to school. So David went in search of his only living relative, his aunt, Miss Betsy Trotwood. Finally, after walking a long distance, he reached her house, and let's read the story to what happened the next. So then we can find that the aunt will be very much happy to get the boy there. She will be giving the trousers of Mr. Dick, okay, and then a shirt and a trouser which belong to Mr. Dick. And also we can find here that the aunt, when the boy arrives there, the aunt will be giving him some strange testing tonic because the boy was extremely exhausted. The boy maybe has lost his physical power. He is because of this so much of you could say that the boy has worked so much, so it may make him ill. That is why the aunt, for a precautionary measure, the aunt was giving him some strange testing tonic, which you can say the health tonic or the rejuvenating tonic kind of syrup kind of, so that the aunt gave him. And also the aunt heated the water. The aunt she wanted that David will be having a warm bath. That is why she heated water so that David can have a bath there. So these we can see when David arrives there. Then David will be taking sufficient rest, and then someday he will be taken to a new school which is at Canterbury, and there David can relate the school. He will not be able to cope up with whosoever is there. He will not be able to what you can say, make friends. He will be there who will feel lonely, because for these many days he was not in the company of so many classmates, so many boys of his age. So he will be taking a bit time to gradually become acquainted with them, or to you can say to make friendship with them, to prosper the relationship of friendship with the boy of his age. Then we can see that he will be telling that at Salem House the experience was different. So just a little bit of hint of all this background of the stories has been given. So here you don't need to go deeper. Whatever is given in your book, that text only you first read very carefully, very minutely. Whatever details are given in your book, that you read. And the background story, as I have said you just remember the background story which I told you that time. So here we can see that Wakefield is the person who is the old lawyer of Aunt Trotwood, and in Wakefield's home only David will be staying, while he will be continuing to his school at Canterbury, because it was not a boarding school, it was a day school. That is why you will have to make the arrangement of where you will stay. That arrangement you will have to make yourself. So the aunt made the arrangement that David will be staying with the Wakefields. Okay, so this we can see here, and here we can see that the aunt was when she left him at Wakefield's home, she was much she was not very much happy, because she thought that she will be missing David. So all these things are there in this story. And here another villainy of Murdstone and his sister was that when Aunt Trotwood Aunt Trotwood called them, and they came and they saw that David was there, they gave David kind of a threat that if David doesn't go with them, their door will be closed for David forever. This kind of ill treatment, this is an example of ill treatment that we can see in front of our eyes. The ill treatments that they sent him to work in a factory. As I have said, Salem House, Mr. Krekel, he was a very you can say a very kind of a very strict, but at the same time whimsically he punished everyone. Whimsically means without any reason that he wanted to punish. He was a sadist, you don't know. So he was kind of someone that who used to get pleasure when somebody he will be punishing somebody. That way he used to derive pleasure. So David's father, that is stepfather, Mr. Marston, he knew it very well that David won't survive in that school. So David's father wanted, that means Mr. Marston wanted, that if I send him to that school, he won't be able to survive there. So soon he will come back, and also I will be released from the charge that I didn't send him to school. I can tell people that yes, look, I sent him to school, but he could not continue his study and he had to come back. So this was their evil intention behind all these things. So these are there, and then the question answers which I have given, you go through those, and also as I have said, these in-text question and these introductory part, whatever is there in your book, apart from the grammars will not be coming in your English 2 exam though. I will not give question from the grammatical part, but you should know each and everything which are there. Okay, so the next chapter that comes here is Peter and Wendy. So Peter and Wendy, another masterpiece of J.M. Barrie, which is Peter Pan. As I have said, the central idea of Peter Pan came when he wrote, after he completed his book, The Little White Bird. Now here we can see that the boy Peter, who is a boy whose age will not increase, who will never grow up, who will remain the same forever. Okay, Peter Pan was a mischievous young boy who spent his never-ending childhood on the far away magical island of Neverland with the fairies, pirates and mermaids. So the question may be asked that with whom Peter Pan spent his childhood? With whom Peter Pan spent his childhood, or Peter Pan was spending his childhood in the magical island? He occasionally visited ordinary children who are like you. So Peter Pan very rarely he visited them. He occasionally visited ordinary children. One night, as Peter listened to Mrs. Darling read bedtime stories to her children, Wendy, John and Michael, Nana, their dog, entered and sprang at Peter. Peter escaped, but Shadow got left behind, as I have said. So this is a fantasy story, this is a fairy tale, so everything can happen here. How the shadow will be detached from somebody's from someone's body. So that is, there is no argument, because here in fairy tales everything, the impossible can be possible. Okay, so let's read a story that describes a few days later how Peter waited till the children were asleep and then returned with the fairy Tinkerbell to find his shadow. Okay, so we can see here that then what will happen? The children, Peter, the children, that means Wendy, John and Michael, all of them will be sleeping in their nursery, and then Peter will come with Tinkerbell, and Tinkerbell is a little fairy who is kind of whose body or whose height is, you can say, is the height of or is the length of a child's hand, and she used to dress herself with the lip gown. She used to have the fairy dust in her body. She will, because of the fairy dust, she will be glowing, and she had a very lovely voice. Okay, very lovely voice, like the tinkle of a bell. So all these are the descriptions of Tinkerbell, and here we can find that Tinkerbell was searching everywhere, and Tinkerbell will be locked in the jug. And then another thing we can find also, that Peter's shadow will finally be discovered in the dryer, and Peter will be trying all the weird way to stick the shadow to his body, but he won't be able. He will be very funnily, he will be taking the soap and he will be trying to paste it with the soap and all, but he won't be able. And in that time, while he will be crying, that time the sound of his cry will by that Wendy will wake up. And what will happen when Wendy will wake up? Wendy will see that a boy is crying here. So he will tell Wendy his problem, and Wendy is the one who will finally be stitching the shadow of him to the body, to Peter's body. The shadow will be finally attached to Peter's body, and then what will happen? Peter is a very ungrateful, we can find here, and the conversation is also there in the middle. The conversation is that they will be asking their names. When Wendy will say that Wendy is having a very long name, Wendy, Moira, Angela, Darling. Peter Pan in comparison had a very small name, Peter Pan. And when his address will be asked, he will be giving a very funny address, that second to right, St. Peter, and then straight to on till morning. So this is a very funny address. So this will provoke laughter for Wendy. Peter will not find that what is the reason behind the laughter of Wendy, and also we can see that Peter's ungratefulness. Peter will be behaving in such a way as if he had done everything, as if no credit goes to Wendy. But especially if you see from whatever has been described in your text, that Wendy is the one who because of whom Peter's shadow was reattached to his body. So Wendy will be a bit offended, or you could say much offended because of this, and she will pull her blanket and she will lie down. So this way we can find that the story will be ending here, this way we can find a little, she exclaimed, she sprang into the bed and covered her face with blankets. So this is with much irritation, she covered her face with blankets. So up to here you have in your story. And also here are few in-text questions, like what had Peter learned from attending the fairy ceremonies. So Peter learned how to greet in a grand manner, or by attending the fairy ceremonies, Peter learned how to greet someone, how to bow down your head when you meet someone, or when you are going to greet someone. Okay. Now, why does Peter's address seem funny to Wendy, or do you feel the same? Yeah, Peter's address seemed funny to everyone, because Peter, the address that he said here, that is straight on till morning, second to right and then straight on till morning. It's a very funny address. It is having no house number and no pin code, so you can write this. Next one, what does to feel sorry for someone mean? That means to sympathize someone. That means you are sad because somebody is in a very bad condition, somebody is in a very sorrowful situation in front of you, so you are feeling sorry for him or her. So these are the questions that you are having. In text questions will go in your study material part. The answers I will be giving in your study material part, so you once you go through those. But the most important thing, which I again and again am telling you, is that you go through the text. As much time you will go through the text, you will be benefited. If you don't go through the text, you will be finding in the exam while you are writing, you will be finding from where the line has been taken and what are the minute details that has been wanted. That time you can't find. So this is advisable that you go through the text as many times as you can. So that way you will be finding that you can write your own answer also. Okay. So this is what I had to tell today. Once you complete watching this video, you go to the worksheet section, and there you will be finding two sets of questions. One is the MCQ based question paper, the revision test on these two chapters. Another is the revision test on how will be your written exam. Okay, means the revision test question pattern. From the revision test question pattern, you can assume what is going to be the marks bifurcation for your written exam. Okay, so that's all for today. Have a very nice day.